How's it going, kiddos? Handsome Jack Boy here, bringing you guys the 16th episode of my Borderlands Legendary Weapons Guide Remastered series. And in this episode, I'm going to be covering 3 legendaries in one guide for you guys. And those legendaries being the Eridian legendaries. Now, you're probably wondering, like, why are you remastering this guide? And why are you all of a sudden bringing back your remastered legendary weapon guides? Well, starting with the second question, this is actually going to be the last episode of this series. There's going to be no more episodes after this, most likely. I mean, there might be a point later down the road where I'll come back to this series, like if they remaster Borderlands 1 or something, then I'll definitely consider coming back to the series. But as of right now, this episode is the last episode. So yeah, just getting that out of the way. I didn't want to, just leave the series and not tell you guys that, like, this is the end of the series. So yes, this is the last episode. Now, the reason why I'm covering the Eridian legendaries is because, well, there's actually quite a few reasons why. I think the biggest reason, though, is there's quite a few complaints on the original guide, and I think a lot of it has to do with something that I didn't explain very clearly, and that something is how to obtain these Eridian legendaries. In the original guide, I explained that you can only get them in the Nox DLC, which is true. You can only get these Eridian legendaries in the Nox DLC. You cannot get them in the vanilla game. But a lot of the comments were like, dude, you can get them in the vanilla game. I've gotten like 3 of them. And I'm sorry to say this, but to everybody that said that, you are wrong. You cannot get these in the vanilla game. You can, however, get the green rarity Eridians in the vanilla game. And that's what I think most of them were talking about, was the green Eridians. And there's a difference. The difference being, obviously, the rarity. Eridian legendaries are orange rarity. If you look at the name of this one on the screen, it is in orange text. That means it's a legendary, and green Eridians are obviously green rarity. Now, there are, of course, some green rarity Eridians that were introduced in the Nox DLC, and you cannot get those in the vanilla game either. So, but I'm just saying right now, this is one of the most important things that I wanted to actually address in this video. So, there we go. It's done. Let's actually move on and talk about these guns now. So I'm sorry that I was kind of rambling on there for a little bit too long. We really do need to get into the gameplay. I'm probably boring you guys out. But the first Eridian legendary that I'm going to be covering is the FIREBOMB. The prefix for mine is 10110 Eridian FIREBOMB, and as you can see there in the red text, it says, "Bad is good, baby." That means that the FIREBOMB shoots an invisible arcing projectile, ignites, and splits into 3 upon impact. Next up, we have the Mega Cannon, and the prefix for mine is 101101 Mega Cannon. And I'm not going to read the red text because, just look at it, it's a bunch of numbers. You can read it for yourself, but it basically translates into OMG, or oh my god. But that means that the Mega Cannon shoots a large, slow-moving orb of energy that explodes on impact, dealing a non-elemental damage area of effect. And last but not least, we have the Stampeding Spatter Gun. The prefix for mine is 10110 Eridian Stampeding Spatter Gun, and as you can see there in the red text, it says, for when you want to splat the living shit out of something. That means that the Eridian Stampeding Spatter Gun shoots a visible arcing projectile. The projectile ricochets 3 times, creating a smaller projectile each time. The projectiles erupt into an acid splash upon most impacts. Okay, we're finally into the gameplay. I'm sorry that it took so long. We're like 4 minutes into the video, and yeah, so anyways, my opinion about the FIREBOMB, this thing is pretty dang cool, and it's not half bad either. It's probably my favorite Eridian legendary next to the Stampeding Spatter Gun. Mega Cannon is not that great. You guys will see here in a minute, but yeah, the FIREBOMB is pretty good, but there's definitely, better weapons out there. Really, these Eridian legendaries aren't all that amazing, especially with how rare they are. I actually forgot to mention this, wow. But Eridian legendaries are as rare as, or if not rarer than, pearlescents. So yeah, just keep that in mind. And I think the best way to obtain them, if you're looking to maybe try to farm for them, is either farming the Crimson Armory or Cromrax in the Nox DLC. Those are, I think, the two best options you have when it comes to trying to get these. Either that or, you know, killing Crimson Lance, because they have a really small chance to have them equipped, and I've seen other people get them to drop from Crimson Lance. But anyways, let me show you guys what this thing is like with the heavy gunner comm, and then we'll move on to the mega cannon. Now, as you can see, I have the heavy gunner comm equipped, and you will notice a improvement to the damage and the fire rate, but less so with the magazine size. It actually might have a better magazine size with this class 1 equipped, but the fire rate kind of counteracts that increase to the magazine size, so it's really just, it's kind of a trade-off. You have more damage and more fire rate, but you're going to have to wait for your gun to recharge more often than you would if you didn't have this particular class mod equipped, or really any sort of class mod that's like the heavy gunner comm. But overall, it is somewhat of an improvement. You just kind of have to deal with the fact that you're going to run out of ammo constantly with this gun. So yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the mega cannon. Now, like I said, the mega cannon is alright. It has to be my least favorites out of the 3 different Eridian legendaries. But what makes it alright for me is its slow rate of fire. It's not so great damage. Like, the damage is definitely better than the cannon, which, if you guys don't know, is pretty much this gun, but instead of being orange rarity is green rarity, because really there's not many differences between both guns. You'd think that this one would be a lot better than the standard cannon, but that's not the case. The damage is okay. It is better, obviously, but it's not that much of an improvement. And the slow rate of fire just is horrendous. Like, I cannot stand it. It makes sense since this thing is a cannon. It's supposed to shoot slow, but since the damage is kind of mediocre, it doesn't really make up for the slow rate of fire. So anyways, wow, I just realized I showed you guys the footage with me using the heavy gunner first, and now I'm showing you the footage with me using the support gunner. So just ignore that. That was a mistake on my end. I can't really go back and fix it, or else it's going to mess up my commentary. But yeah. So really, like, my overall verdict on this gun, it's okay. It's not bad per se. It's just not my kind of gun. I could see some of you guys liking this gun, but really for me, it's meh. But to you guys out there that actually, you know, maybe like the normal cannon and haven't gotten your hands on this thing, then don't worry about it. Just stick with using the standard cannon. It's really not worth your time and effort to try to farm for this gun. Anyways, though, let's move on to the last Eridian legendary, the Stampeding Spatter gun. Alright, so what do I think about the Stampeding Spatter gun? Well, I actually like this one. It reminds me of a corrosive firebomb. There's, of course, some differences. Like, with this thing, the projectiles, they kind of bounce around the place, which with the firebomb, when the initial projectile hits a surface, it also splits up into these other little projectiles, except they don't bounce around all over the place. Another difference is the time it takes for your initial projectile to hit a enemy or a surface, whatever you're trying to shoot at. But this thing is pretty dang fast. As you can see in this footage, like the projectile speed, or whatever you want to call it, is really fast, at least compared to the firebomb, which has a kind of slower. I mean, you can't really see the projectile with the firebomb. That's also another downside with the firebomb, is like when you shoot, you don't really know where the projectile is going until it actually hits a surface. So that's another kind of issue with the firebomb. But overall, I really do like this gun. Not as much as the firebomb, but it definitely comes close, and it is quite a lot of fun to use against Lance. Just shoot a couple balls of goo at him and sit back and let him dissolve to death. But yeah, I think apart from that, though, guys, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you enjoyed this. This has actually ended up being a lot longer of a guide than I anticipated. But nonetheless, I do hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe for more, and I'm out of here. Peace!